Welcome on into the Fantasy Football Forge. My name's Steve, and today is week 1 of the fantasy football season. We're jacked, we're excited. Start your studs, okay? I always do that, but week 1, let's not get too cute. Let's see if I got too cute anywhere here. So these are going to be the running back rankings throughout the season. Rankings videos come out each week. Look for my quarterbacks and tight ends video. Look for a wide receiver video throughout the week as well. This year going to be a little bit having to dedicate my time to some other things as well. So projections, probably not going to be doing them this year, but I will be going live as often as I can. Once again, generally speaking, Thursdays prior to kickoff, at least an hour ahead of time, and Sunday mornings, 2 hours at least ahead of time, going live every morning for your start sit questions, where you can see my most up-to-date rankings. But if throughout the week, if you work, you can't make it to those, I also have these rankings that you're seeing every time that I update them. They get automatically updated on the website, www.theFFforge.com. There's also a link in the description to the rankings, which should be up there by the time this video goes up. So, with that good stuff out of the way, why don't we get to the running back rankings here? My first tier, we're going to start off nice and thick with these front tiers in my rankings because, like I said, we're not getting cute. We're just going to start these guys, okay? So Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey, Chase Brown. This is the order I have them in this week, but, what's up? Does it really matter? We're starting these guys. Jahmyr Gibbs right behind that. Some optimism for that. Bijan Robinson, Devon Achane, assuming that he's healthy. Indianapolis, let's go. Josh Jacobs, Derrick Henry behind that. Generally speaking, a little bit more excited about the passing attack in this game, so that's why I'm just a little bit down on on Derrick Henry. And you look at, the expectations that Green Bay wins, that Baltimore loses, so just nod towards Josh Jacobs in terms of the rankings, but it's not a decision you should have to make in most leagues. Bucky Irving, Jonathan Taylor, James Conner, Ashton Jeanty, Kyren Williams, James Cook, starting them all here. So James Cook just making it into this tier because, look at this implied point total. Should be plenty of touchdown opportunities for the touchdown king last year. Why on earth would we sit him this week? We won't. We don't. We shouldn't. So we won't. Maybe a little bit low on Ashton Jeanty, you think here? Sorry. I don't know what to tell you. James Conner's going up against New Orleans. Better game script situation for him as well, according to Vegas. Miami here for Jonathan Taylor. It's just how it worked out. And it's week 1. So, you're still playing him. Let's get on to this next tier here. Slight break into guys who I don't think you have to play, but you probably are. At least for Omar and Hampton, you probably are. Alvin Kamara, pretty decent chance you are, right? And also, game situation's not as nice for these players. Point total's not as great for these teams this week than some of this tier, part of the break off there as well. K9, I'd like to know exactly how that backfield's going to break down. Just a little bit hesitant with that, but not, could have a very good week here. RJ Harvey, I am expecting Denver to be able to run the ball a fair bit as the game goes along. All the more reason why RJ Harvey, late game, this would be a good opportunity for them to maybe get him in some dead time and just get him some live reps later game if they do end up taking a nice early and big lead against Tennessee. So RJ Harvey, low-key, like garbage time, worst case scenario kind of guy here. But generally speaking, I am expecting a lot of rushing attempts for Denver. Travion Henderson, I got nothing wrong with the opportunity. I'm just feeling a little bit safer with RJ Harvey week 1. Safe might be the wrong term, but I'm feeling like there's a little bit more meat potentially on the bone here for RJ Harvey to get in week 1. Chuba Hubbard going up against Jacksonville. Obviously, he makes it into this tier this week. That's a good matchup. And we'll keep an eye, though, on how much he is splitting with the other dude there. I just had it. Dallas is running back from last year, Rico Dowdle. That's going to bring us on to this next tier. Now we're getting into territory where, I'm still pretty comfortable starting these guys, and a couple of guys might be surprised how comfortable I am starting them as we go. Aaron Jones, my RB21 this week going up against Chicago. I think Minnesota's going to have quite a bit of running this week. As you can see, Jordan Mason, my RB27, also making it in this video. In fact, Jordan Mason, one of my must-start kind of guys this week. Oh, by the way, RJ Harvey I have as like a partial fade. Like, that's why I said, I don't know that safe was the right word. there's a reason I have J.K. Dobbins down there, RB31, highlighted. Definitely one of those weeks where if you got J.K. Dobbins and you have the ability to play him, this would be a good week to have to play him if you have to play him, and he might have a good week. But anyways, Aaron Jones, Minnesota's, I just expect these running backs to get quite a bit of work here in week 1 against Chicago in general. So that's where that is. DeAndre Swift, expecting them to have to pass more. Does that actually hurt them? Probably not. Probably not, really. Tyrone Tracy, he is a receiving back, so this game flow doesn't hurt him as much as it might a guy like a J.K. Dobbins. If we were to see him in a negative game flow, then, that should probably be better for R.J. Harvey generally as the season goes along. But Tyrone Tracy, week 1, expecting him, Cam Scattergood's been missing a lot of the offseason, so just a good general situation here for Tyrone Tracy. Not that I'm ultra confident in it, but I feel pretty good about it. And literally like a tie between him and Tony Pollard, and I have him and Tony Pollard on a roster, and currently I have Tyrone Tracy in the starting spot. I do like the check down opportunities for Tony Pollard. Could go a long ways this week, could go a long ways throughout the season for him. So I do like that chance, but Denver's just such a good defense. I'll just take the scoring opportunity for Tyrone Tracy over Tony Pollard here, and those reception numbers and everything could end up looking very similar between the two. Isaiah Pacheco doesn't provide the same boom upside here, but I think he is a fine floor play if you wanted to play him up ahead of any of these guys. I mean, by the books, I should probably have him up here by Chuba Hubbard, right? I'm just expecting this game to be a little bit more pass-heavy than Vegas, I suppose. But Pacheco's a fine play. Ja'Cory Crossy-Merritt, I think, is a really, really good play if you can, if you punt it on running backs a little bit, or for whatever reason you got to pinch in at your flex spot here. I really, really am optimistic about Ja'Cory Crossy-Merritt this week against the New York Giants. That game flow should work for him, so another guy who the game flow should work for. So I'm taking my shot on Bill, let's go. One of the higher projected point totals as well. Jordan Mason, just not as good of a situation in general here for him, but I do once again think that they're going to be running quite a bit. So good opportunity for Jordan Mason. He is one of my other startable players this week. David Montgomery, Vegas has Detroit being the underdog, so the game script might not be as generous for him. All the other concerns that I have for Detroit generally this year are all the more exacerbated week 1, and even more so in terms of the passing attack generally against Green Bay. But I'm sure early game, if Green Bay can't get ahead, this is game flow dependent. David Montgomery, if they use him like they did last year, which is not a guarantee, could be in line for a great day, because Green Bay Packers run defense might just suck. That's possible. Breece Hall, this is the reason why he fell down in my rankings late season here. And then you're going up against Pittsburgh. I just don't like week 1 for the New York Jets. I got them all low in my rankings. Vegas isn't expecting them to do a whole lot. The ceiling, and I want to see what happens with this backfield as well. So Breece Hall is a fade for me in week 1. Tank Bigsby, another must-start kind of guy for me in week 1 between him and ETN. Who do I expect will run out the game if they're in the lead, which Vegas is expecting in a higher point total? Good opportunities for touchdowns and everything for Tank Bigsby, hopefully this week. So he is a guy who I do like quite a bit. This is my cutoff, though. My rock bottom for Breece Hall and going into this next year. J.K. Dobbins, too. Really optimistic about this situation for J.K. Dobbins this week. Think he could have a good week. Travis Etienne, some really good reporting coming out on him being like the primary guy in Jacksonville this week. We'll see if that ends up coming to fruition or not actually, but maybe to start the game, I wouldn't be too shocked. They want to use him to try to get an early lead against Carolina and just higher, maybe an upper tempo, pass heavy, early go against Carolina could make some sense, but also not the best run defense either. So, whatever. Nick Chubb going up against Los Angeles Rams for Houston. Yeah, just a little bit worried about the overall touchdown opportunities, but I do think this is a pretty decent week for Nick Chubb, my 33rd ranked running back. I got no problem starting him. Jaylen Warren, yeah, if there's anybody in this game I'm starting, it's probably DK Metcalf or Jaylen Warren, right? So, there you go. Jaylen Warren, I don't feel too bad about this week 1, really. Austin Eckler going up against the New York Giants. Nice, game flow. Supposed to work in favor of him. potentially in favor for him to get work, but he is the receiving back, so maybe not the best. Like, that's why I'm so high on Jacory Grosky-Merritt compared to Austin Eckler in a different kind of game flow. If they were facing against Denver, I might actually like Austin Eckler a little bit better than JCM that week. Ramondre Stevenson going against Las Vegas, not a terrible matchup. Early portion of the season is probably when he gets the most work, if anything, so I'm, okay if I have to play him. Javonte Williams, I'm starting to get more and more nervous as we go down this tier. Going up against Philadelphia, really, really good defense in general. Dallas is going to be passing a lot. Hopefully he gets a bunch of targets if you happen to play him, but he is one of my fades of the week. Dylan Sampson, Jerome Ford just making it at the end of this tier because Cincinnati's run defense sucks. And I think Dylan Sampson is going to be running ahead of Jerome Ford and get more opportunities and receiving opportunities as well for him. So that's why I have him just one spot ahead of Jerome Ford. If I got to play him, I'm going to play these. I'm going to play either of them ahead of these guys because I'm just a little bit more sure about both of them and their workload in a really, really good matchup against Cincinnati's rushing defense. Braylon Allen, Zach Charbonnet, Trey Benson, Rachaad White, Caleb Johnson, Najee Harris, Brian Robinson Jr. So Caleb Johnson could be something where late game, like I talked about RJ Harvey, they're just in the lead, they're feeling comfortable with it, they want to run out the game. You get your rookie in there as well to just get them some good reps and see what they can do, bring out for you, get a good look at them. I think that could happen for Caleb Johnson. That's actually really what I'm banking on here. Najee Harris, just a little bit nervous about the actual workload for him. Brian Robinson Jr. we'll see on that. Rachaad White, he's got a bit of a role, so you feel pretty good about him. Trey Benson has potentially a little bit of a role going up against New Orleans. I'll take a shot on that. Zach Charbonnet, we don't know what that's going to look like yet, so it'll be interesting to see if he might not be a little bit more usable throughout the year. Same with Braylon Allen. I do want to see, but Braylon Allen also suffering just from the fact that, they're playing against Pittsburgh this week. I'm not too optimistic about that New York Jets rushing attack or passing attack for what it matters. Next year, I've got Bayshal Tootin ahead of at the top of this tier. Maybe he's somebody who comes along throughout the season, but for now, I think he's behind the first two running backs. We'll see. Chris Rodriguez, if they are using him along the goal line, this could be a week he could fall into the end zone. Blake Corum's supposed to get more workload this year than last year. Kareem Hunt is supposed to get some workload. Rico Dowdle is supposed to get some workload. Ray Davis going up against Baltimore. A lot of touchdown opportunities, so maybe he gets in the end zone. Maybe James Cook gets a little bit tired, gets subbed out there, and Ray Davis gets an opportunity. Ollie Gordon, maybe Devon Achane's not at full health. Maybe they just like him more around the goal line and stuff this season. I mean, maybe they're happy enough with what they've seen going up against Indianapolis, not the worst matchup in the world, so optimistic for Ollie Gordon relatively here. And then my final tier, Jaden Blue, he's just missed so much time. Early season, bad matchup. I'm not really too excited to try to start that this week. Tyler Algier, Will Shipley, Cam Scatteraboo, we'll see. Would love, hopefully, this is just totally wrong. Keaton Mitchell, Justice Hill. Keaton Mitchell feels like the more change of pace guy in a high-scoring game. I'll take my shot on him. They'll probably whip out a few plays that'll be designated for him, depending on how the game flow goes. And then Justice Hill is just their steady Eddie other guy, so maybe he sees a little less workload while both of them are healthy this year. Dameon Pierce, Brashard Smith, Kendre Miller are the last guys that I bothered ranking. For now, I don't have Jalen Wright ranked. For now, I don't have Garendo, Jarquez Hunter, DJ Giddens, Woody Marks ranked, Quinshon Judkins ranked. All not ranked. So there we go. Those are the running back rankings. Nice, quicker video. So my targets were JCM, Bill, Grosky, Merritt, Jordan, Mason. We got Bill, we got Jordan, we got JK, we got Tank Bigsby. All guys who I think have some pretty good chances of falling into the end zone this week, of having a decent amount of rushing yards on the ground. You'll notice none of them really receiving backs. Holds their upper side back, but these are the types of matchups, generally speaking, these are the types of matchups for these guys, generally speaking, that we're looking for throughout the season, and especially early season for Minnesota. I think they want to lean on that run. Breece Hall, try not to play. Javonte Williams, try not to play. RJ Harvey, I do have my nerves about him, but I also am banking on some late game free carries, hopefully, for him to boost up whatever he did throughout the game, which will hopefully also be good enough for him to have justified being ranked up here in the top 20. So there it is for the running backs, wide receivers video. Should have maybe already came out. Maybe it'll come out tomorrow or later today. Keep an eye out for that if it did not come out yet. Quarterbacks, tight ends videos, same story there. Peace out.